in terms of.
Yeah. It's also not clear to me, but yeah. So intuitively, what I would have thought that like it would slow some peers down, or it would down rank them because now they have like this peer score. But what is really happening there is like it is just making the other hubs slow because of the because of the slow hubs.
My
Uh,
guess is it's
and
probably because of like the diff sync. Because I think the official hubs are configured to always agree to diff sync requests, but like that it like blocks the process for a decent amount of time.
okay, yeah, that
Gotcha.
kind of makes sense. Yeah.
But that's not part of the spec, is it? So teleport doesn't have to do that.
No, diff sync is part of the spec because like
Yeah.
you need it to deal with missed messages because it's P2P network, so you can miss messages. Your node can go down, or other nodes can go down occasionally.
But
So
the part where they always agree, is that required?
no, no. So that is configurable. So like when you get a request for a diff sync, you can choose to ignore it if you want to. It might result in a lower peer score. I think I'm not 100% clear on that, but it is not required for you to always say yes.
Okay.
And maybe we can do like we can build Merkle trees faster probably because I don't know, maybe we could do SHA-256 calculation faster
Hmm.
in Rust.
Haven't
I don't know.
benchmarked that, but yeah, crypto stuff
Yeah.
tends to be a little bit faster, I guess.
Yeah.
No FFI overhead. Um, cool. So yeah, like in that video, like I didn't really talk about the memory usage stuff, but that was another thing. I think like when this originally started, the main cause was just like Hubble felt too expensive to run. I think they've made some optimizations lately, but back then it was like $100 a month to run a hub. Like if you were doing
Yeah,
cloud
I think
hosting.
it's it's probably more than that now.
Well, it needs to be cheaper, especially because there's no like protocol incentives or anything like that. It needs to be cheaper, and now they removed like warps incentives as well.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But I think like yeah, I think if they figure out the peer scoring like and yeah, and like a way to like for the network to not slow down because of like these like low end devices, I think that
Mhm.
that would probably bring the cost down.
Yeah, and data availability is always a bit of a pain in the ass.
But but like on that end, I think yeah, but I think there's minimum requirement of 20 GB, right? That you need to store, and you're already like yeah, users have already purchased that, and hub providers are kind of know that like this is kind of constant 20 GB. So uh,
like
uh,
storage space,
uh,
you mean?
yeah. Sorry, I think I misunderstood your point. What were you saying?
No, I was just thinking in terms of data availability. Like if everybody just starts saying no to diff sync, that
Oh
will like
yeah, yeah.
centralize operations pretty badly.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, yeah, it's like I don't know, it's a weird thing to have. That's I think like not having everything being on chain. Um, it's you can choose to just not share your messages with other people and constantly force them to be out of sync.
What is the frequency right now to run this tree building job?
I think Hubble by default um, has the ping protocol they set up. I think it's every 5 minutes they compare their Merkle routes, and if the Merkle
Mhm.
route is different between you and like a different hub, then you share some additional metadata to check for okay, which who is ahead and who is like behind, and
Mhm.
based on that, then you can do a diff sync or
Mhm.
request a diff sync.
Okay. So the bottleneck is not really the tree building. The bottleneck is the like how many rounds you need to uh like after like you have figured out like you're behind X number of messages, then you'd probably need multiple rounds of requests to like catch up. And Is that right? Or what do you think?
I haven't worked on that part yet, so I don't know. Like, well, I mean, obviously you need to request and then check for metadata and then do the actual sync.
Mm,
I don't know how many round trips are needed for the actual sync to happen, but like a big blocker over there is also in terms of I/O because you have to read um like the RocksDB
yeah,
stuff and then sort of decode all of that, compress
yeah.
it, like you need like modify its data structure to be CRDT and then send that over the wire and like that whole RocksDB stuff is like slow.
Mm,
It's like I don't think they optimize for reads as much as they do for writes.
mm,
But hopefully, I don't know, hopefully like let me see actually. What was the like the hubble.xyz? Um, there's stuff. Let's see. Div sync. Um, okay. Yeah, there's no good docs for how div sync is working. I think you have to go through the code for that. Is
I
there
think
the
if you go to farcaster.xyz or GitHub farcaster.org, and then you go to protocol, and there's a spec there.
mm,
Yeah,
right?
specification over. Yeah, I think they have like a bunch of diagrams here, which kind of explains it.
Let me share my tab. Where is it? So yeah, hubs can download all missing messages from another hub using an expensive out-of-band process known as a div sync. They must perform the div sync when they connect to the network to ensure that they catch up. Yeah, this is probably like what's causing the whole network to slow down, right? Because when you start
Yeah,
a hub for the first time, you're syncing the entire history, um,
yeah,
and this is slow. And must
mm,
also select a random peer, perform diff sync to ensure consistency, blah blah blah, and then yeah, like the tree structure and how it's working, and that's fine. And then you have to implement these different endpoints um, for the clients. Yeah, I think that's all they have in the actual spec for it. Um,
yeah,
mm, yeah, the Hubble code base is nice though. Like that's like the source of truth for the most part. This is, I think, fairly sparse documentation for how the sync is actually working.
yeah. So one thing I wanted to discuss was that, yeah. So probably like you have noted that this lib P2P connection is not working,
Mm-hmm.
uh, and yeah. So I'm not sure like what's going on there. Is it something? Um, yeah, yeah. I don't know. The specification changed because they've been doing like bunch of these updates, right? Or we are just like we are just getting down ranked and this we don't get anything.
So when it was happening with me earlier, I think I think it's because of the contact info message. But that's like before I get into that, I'll pause for a second. Like, Greg, do you have any questions right now before we get into that? Because I don't know if you have like the full context for that right now.
No, you can go ahead. I'll just listen in.
Okay, so I don't have libp2p here on my MacBook, but let me see. I have remote desktop to my PC. We'll try over there. Cool. Can you see my Windows PC? I'm not sure if you can.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So, um, libp2p lookup. Oops.
Oh, I cannot see the text. Oh yeah, this node is like I nuked this node, so sorry,
Oh,
because
okay.
like yeah, it was the 8 GB VRAM thing and doesn't work anymore. So maybe like we can use the Neem or maybe free fast Farcaster node or Wield or something.
Wield
Yeah,
wasn't
Wield.
working for me last time I tried. Let's see. Yeah, like what helped was last time when I was facing that issue, it wasn't a problem necessarily with teleport because I couldn't even connect to it using like raw libp2p at the time. And
Mhm.
um I don't know, I just tried like a bunch of different nodes and Wield wasn't working. I think yours wasn't working either at the time for me. Um
Mhm.
I don't remember which one actually did end up working. It was yeah, like let me try Nemesis. Okay, so Nemesis does ping successfully. Um AutoNet, IPFS ID, IPFS ping, libp2p AutoNet. I think this is slightly different. I think they've updated their gossip network configuration. I don't think ours does this. This is new. These two.
Do you have a teleport running like somewhere? Maybe we can like try to connect to it and see the protocols.
I do not have it running right now, but um, if we just look at the config for the node,
Okay.
sorry, this is lagging obviously because I'm like remote desktoping over a VPN, but
Other side of the world.
yeah. I think this is stuck. Okay, but this part we don't need the remote desktop for. I'll just go. Okay, so okay, so we're doing a libp2p mplex. I think they've gotten rid of mplex. Pretty sure because
uh,
actually,
I don't think so because I recently checked this. Like if you remember this gossip node.ts file, I think they
yeah.
had amplifier.
Hmm.
Can you open the uh, yeah, this file? No, no, not the Hubble TX. I think uh,
Yeah.
gossip node. Yeah, probably.
Um, where's the start? No, it's not in this one. Looks like.
Or there's one other file which is like a worker.
Oh right, they moved it.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, no, no, they do have mplex.
yeah, yeah.
Um, okay, so this address TCP transport mplex noise and pubsub gossip. What is this? Um, pubsub as gossip sub. P2P sub as gossip sub. Where is it getting though? Change the lib P2P gossip sub. Okay, no, this is the same one we used to have before. Okay. My remote PC is dead. But okay, so it says flood sub, mesh sub, autonet, ping, push. I think Nemes, however, might just be because they have they don't really maintain connections for long anyway. So that could probably be it as well. Because Nemes never worked for me with teleport. Like even like from day one, Nemes was not something that ever worked for me because they're very very strict with who they connect with, or I guess like how long they connect with, how long they're willing to connect for. Uh, this other one, I don't know whose this was. I think this might be Wages for Supercast, but I don't know. Yeah, it was weird. We'll have to set up a new Hubble instance on a higher spec machine, I guess, to properly test it.
Yeah.
But it fails libp2p as well. I don't know if you're using any VPNs. There's actually, I did notice an issue when I was using VPNs, but if I disconnect Tailscale right now, my remote desktop will shut down. But it might be worth trying to turn off VPNs if you have any.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Yeah, in that case, I'm not super sure why this happens. I pinged Vern about it earlier when it first saw it happening. He didn't really know why it was happening either. Um, I don't know, maybe they're just
But,
not taking those connections in right now. It's hard to say.
yeah, but like we were getting the response from Nemesh, right? Uh,
It never worked for me. I don't know if it ever worked for you. Because like
no,
Nemes doesn't
yeah.
last very long. Like the only time I could connect to Nemes, I would connect and it would send me contact info of like a few other hubs, and then it would disconnect me. Because I think it's not configured to like stay connected for long periods of time.
Yeah, that's what I was noticing as well when I was trying to connect via like when Teleport was trying to connect to like Hubble on that 23 IP. So
Mm-hmm.
it would like it would get connected and immediately there's a
Oh
disconnect
yeah.
message.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that's because of two reasons. Number one, in the teleport code, I use the same defaults as Hubble for this, but let me show you which part is affected. So, um, so you see like these mesh numbers,
Yeah.
mesh in low, mesh in high. Um,
Yeah.
so you need to play around with this if you're just configuring with like one node. I think you might need to set this to 0 to actually keep it connected, because otherwise the network isn't big enough for it to actually gossip anything. Um, so even if we write code for handling messages and sending responses back, it will say that it's not connected to enough nodes to do a proper gossip. Um, this could be reason number one, that maybe you were only connected to one node at the time, and reason number two is generally just I don't think we have proper handling right now for um, the contact info message. Yeah, this is to do. So you don't respond to contact info, and hubs will kick you if you don't respond to contact info.
Yeah, but like a while back, like we were still not responding to contact info, but like I was still seeing the cast ad and like a bunch of other messages
Yeah,
coming
that
in.
was that was hacky though. We were doing some
Yeah,
shit for that. I think
yeah.
so I was connecting to this node, start the gossip node, and yeah, I had to like remove the sleep in between. I had to basically like connect and pretty much um,
Okay.
instantly like broadcast the message for that to work. I deleted that code right now because we were shifting this to CLI, but yeah,
Yeah.
if you wait for even a few seconds, it will kick you because we don't respond to contact info right now.
Okay.
But yeah, I think most of I think the only one we actually handle properly is peer discovery at the moment.
Okay. So that sounds like yeah. So I could try to respond because it's just rebroadcasting, right? We don't need any data in contact info.
So contact info is um there's a couple of things that need to happen. So this is kind of an issue of like the Node.js libp2p ecosystem being better than the Rust ecosystem. Um,
Mhm.
so the if you look at this gossip sub implementation they use, number one, Rust doesn't have a gossip sub implementation, so we have to build it from scratch.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and the way this gossip sub implementation works is um, the contact info stuff. You need to send it your contact info and then also the contact info of any other hubs that you're connected to. Um,
Mhm.
and we need to do this periodically. Um, so if basically like if you're not responding back to contact info, it's like they don't really know like what are the different ways to reach out to you, and
Mhm.
they can't share your address to other people, um, because of which like if for whatever reason, like maybe your score is too low or maybe the timeout or whatever, and they choose to disconnect you, like nobody else is out there looking for you to connect with you. Um, so that contact info is kind of handled. All of that is sort of handled automatically in the node side of things, but we need to do it over here. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Okay. Could you open that contact info spec on the link that you opened earlier?
I'll open
I
it
just
here
wanted to.
first. Let's see. Um, contact info. Um, also sorry, I had to mention another thing. So another thing that does happen is this implementation of Gossip Sub, it takes care of um, keeping track of like peers the node is currently connected to, which is how it
Mhm.
can like in contact info messages it can send all the contact info of people they're connected to. Rust doesn't have
Yeah.
that. Like Rust libp2p doesn't keep track of the IP
Mm.
addresses of peers you're connected to. It only keeps track of the peer IDs, which is not
Okay.
good enough,
Mm.
which is also a weird design decision by them for some
Mm.
reason. There's open issues on their GitHub for quite a long time on why they chose to do that. But
Mhm.
regardless, the
How do you get the address if you have the peer ID?
you don't. That's the problem. You only get it when you first connect. So you need to maintain like a mapping or of yourself. Um,
Yeah, I remember in like Go lib2p, there's this peer store which has like it's kind of a
yep,
database of peer ID to address. So
yep.
the Rust doesn't have it.
Yeah,
I
Rust
don't
doesn't
see
have the
that.
peer store. So in the event loop state, set up a connected peers hash map, but this like this isn't populated. This never gets populated right now. We need to add to connected peers. Actually, I think it might be adding. I'm not sure if I did that. Connected peers. Nope, doesn't look like it. So yeah, like when you first connect, we need to add to that list, and then
Mhm.
contact info we need to broadcast to that list. And if we get contact info of any new hubs, then also we need to add it over there, even if we are not dialing them immediately. But we need to keep track of like all the hubs we're aware of. So if somebody kicks us, we can gracefully just go and try to connect to somebody else instead. Which none of that is happening right now. So the second we get kicked, we're basically offline.
Got it. One other thing that yeah I didn't get a chance to check uh, is the protobufs because like it's been a while since we compiled those schemas, right? So
Yeah,
uh, maybe we're checking if we are missing some fields and something like that. Maybe needs to rebuild those.
yeah, it might be slightly different now. It says gossip proto changed 2 days ago, so it's definitely out of sync.
Yeah.
Yeah, they added a timestamp thing. It's not there. Yeah, we'll need to rebase these protobuf messages. Yeah, it's definitely out of sync a little bit.
Yep.
I have nothing on this laptop, dude. Okay. Okay. Oh. Did I delete the folder? Rip. Okay. Okay, yeah. 4 of these changed. We have a timestamp and gossip message now. We have a frame stuff in message data.
Mm-hmm.
New stuff in storage. And new RPC method for frame stuff. Okay. Process did not exit successfully.
What's that? Is it cargo build?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is it? Could not make protopath relative. Why? Oh shit! Did I deleted peer ID. No, I don't need to delete peer ID. Restore.
Is Proto C installed in the laptop or all?
Yeah, no, so peer ID proto isn't in Hubble because again, Node.js libp2p ecosystem just has it, but
Okay.
we need to have our own. We're missing validate message over here. I don't know what the response type stuff is. Not a member of Trade Hub service. Where is it? Hub service. Validate. Nope. Yeah. PC. Okay. Validate message. Takes a message. Returns a validation response. Okay. And then I was saying it's not a member. Lifetimes do not match. Like I feel like the protobufs aren't being generated properly. The underscore thing isn't being generated properly.
How is it done in the current one?
No, this is a new RPC method. I think the protobuf for it wasn't generated. Oh, there we go. Okay, it's taking a while. So okay, lifetime does not match, but it does not match in trait, but it should. Underscore.rs. This is an older one. We have a validate message on it. There we go. Okay. need mute self request super message and then respond super validation response and status. I don't know. This should be working. Oh, because I
No. What?
people say Rust has good error messages. um, okay. Okay,
Something
so
else.
yeah, we need to update like the rest of the code for the new protocol stuff, but I'll take care of that later. Um, but yeah, that 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 protocol should be in sync now. I'll do this as a PR once I change like the other message handling stuff. But yeah,
Cool. And I'll set up the new hub, so we get something to work with, and then try to make this lib2p connection again by like rebroadcasting the connect info thing.
mm-hmm. Yeah, maybe worth like I don't know if you can just like do one on AWS, whatever the recommended specs are. We have some funds to put that way if we need to. So whatever the recommended specs are now on AWS, you can just set it
Yeah.
up and share that.
Yeah. Cool.
And maybe we can like like maybe we can like have it so that that one is not connecting to other random peers and getting slowed down or anything. I think we can
Yeah.
connect
Yeah.
with
Just for the just for our hub.
yeah,
Maybe just connect with one node like Nemes or something, and then just serve teleport. That's it.
yeah, yeah. I mean test off of that. That should be fine. Cool, cool, cool. Other than that, I don't know, Avi, if you had a chance to go through the video I
Yeah,
sent
yeah, I
earlier.
did like pretty very well done. It's kind of like, yeah, it really goes through different things that I wanted to kind of say. That yeah, like uh, the kind of dependencies. Uh, I mean, it's kind of the indexing part, the ETH indexing part is kind of a dependency to other parts of the Telebot code base.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of, like, we are almost there. I think F names is, I don't know, do we need F names for like, validating the messages, because you have the FID, you
No.
have the signers, you can probably just validate. And once we can validate those things, we can put it in the DB. Then implementing RPC is like pretty straightforward. It's
Yeah, the
just,
RPC stuff should be simple. Um,
yeah.
is F names even deployed now? Like, is it out there yet? Doesn't look
Oh,
like it.
I don't know.
Farcaster docs still don't talk about it. Because I think Warpcast currently does usernames centralized, or well, not
Mm,
centralized, but I guess like um, off chain. It's the contract is
okay.
not on chain yet.
Mm,
They do have a Solidity contract for it on their GitHub repo, but then they still say it is off chain. Um, I'm not sure. I don't think it is fully on chain yet. Um, um, I
yeah,
resolvers.
but I think we can skip it for a while. And like once we have the lib P2P done, then we can maybe move on to RPC. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and sync tree, maybe both of them in parallel. Then once the lib P2P part is sorted out.
Yep,
Uh,
sounds good. And yeah, no, it says fname resolver is not yet deployed. The others are. Okay.
cool.
Should be fine. Um, Yeah, we can add support for that later. I don't think it changes anything about the behavior, like functionality wise, right now. The biggest things right now are probably, well, updating the protobuf schemas and then starting to add support for some of the more core messages, so like contact
Yeah,
info and like
yeah.
fixing any changes to peer discovery that might be causing us getting kicked. And and then if you can just have handling for stuff like cast add afterwards. That'd be pretty cool. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good.
I wonder, like, I think like cool demo would be to eventually fork OpenCast, um, and then have OpenCast connect to a teleport hub instead of Nanar, and then
Yeah,
make it work through that. I think like even just like partially, I think like if we can add like cast add and stuff like that, and just being able to post a cast through there and being able to demo that, it'd be pretty cool. Um,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then
That'd be cool. Or just like doing it from CLI. I think that'd be cool too. Uh,
yeah, initially probably just yeah like um
uh, so you will be there at FarCon, right?
yes, I thought it was March for some reason. I don't know if they changed the date, but May, yeah, I should
No,
be able to
yeah,
get
it's
there.
fine. Yeah, like hopefully, like if we have some, yeah, if you could demo something, it would be pretty good.
I
Last
messaged
time.
Dylan on Telegram. He did not reply. I don't know if he's just hasn't. Yeah, it says it hasn't seen my message on Telegram yet. I pinged him like 2 weeks ago. Maybe I should ping him on Warpcast
Who,
instead.
who is Dylan?
He's like one of the organizers there at
Okay,
FarCon.
okay, okay.
He's the guy who did like the React hooks library for FC and AuthKit.
Right. Yeah, yeah, okay. Ah, yeah. Now I recall. I could now could recall the PFP.
Yeah. um, Perfect. Cool. So, I mean, I think like, key goals of today were to onboard Greg as well. I don't know you're how much of that is achieved yet, but if you have any questions, Greg. Um, and other than that, like teleport in general, there's pretty much no documentation, so group chat
Yeah.
is probably the best place to ask questions if you start contributing and have any. Um, and yeah, like as we said, like the key unlock right now is starting to handle all the different gossip messages that exist.
Okay. What's a good place to start? Are there any issues that are like really low hanging fruits that it'd be good for me to just kind of get my hands dirty in the code base with?
Um, Let me see. Let me
I guess depends
search.
on how much you're familiar with like lib2p. Uh,
And Rust.
yeah.
Not very familiar. Rust, not very familiar, to be honest. I'm actually partially using this to learn Rust more so. I mean, I've learned it like the book version, but
Welcome to the team.
Yeah,
yeah,
This
yeah,
is
yeah. We
everybody
are the
literally
same boat.
both of us.
Yeah,
really awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, so not super familiar with either of those.
Okay, that is fine. If you've done the book, that is fine. We both kind of basically did the same thing as well. We started with the kind of the book stuff, and then just like we need to build something. But okay, so I'll go over real quick on how the code base is structured. Um, the README has like some info on like some prereqs you need to install. So you must have the protobuf compiler, the SQLX CLI for all of this to work. And then once you first start it, this is make file commands, run them to create the SQLite stuff. But after that is set up, essentially everything is under lib. There's these different packages, so CLI, common, ETH, hub, RPC, and storage. Um, Few issues that are here. I would like to make GitHub issues about them, but we just haven't gotten around to it. But basically, what's happening is the ETH thing is kind of where all the events indexing stuff is. So it's like ID registry, key registry, storage registry. All the three indexers for on-chain events are over here. There's some to-do comments. If you go through them, I don't know, ID registry not particularly, but there's a bunch of to-do comments all over the code base. And I think some of them in these event indexers as well. Yeah. So these should be fairly simple to get started with. And yeah, this is probably like some of the simplest stuff we can get started with. Um, Apart from that, storage is a fairly lightweight wrapper over the SQLite stuff. There's nothing too crazy going on. Bunch of SQL queries and some abstraction around it. And CLI is pretty dead right now as well. Like it's mostly just configuration. So it mostly just sets like the different CLI options you could pass, but CLI not really existent right now. It's just the
Yeah, this is the one
foundation.
part that we forgot to mention that yeah, the CLI console thing is like another thing besides RPC and HTTP endpoints, like one other entry point that we need to take care of.
Yeah, technically, again, not part of the spec, but something that
Yep.
Hubble does. So, like, technically, it's not like you just open teleport and it just starts the node instantly, right? You
Yeah.
have experience running Hubble, so you need to do like Hubble start or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So has like the CLI foundation setup, but it's really just configuring all the options and whatnot. None of this actually takes care of anything right now. Um, I don't know if any of the CLI options have changed. They might have, and that is extremely easy, like 2 minute thing to do if you just like want to add an option to any of these structs. I don't know if the CLI options have changed recently. Common is exactly what it sounds like. It's just like some hashing, cryptography, signatures, verification stuff, helper functions. RPC pretty empty. RPC is again really just like a bunch of these to-do functions. Um, all the RPC methods we need to implement. This is like the last thing to worry about. Um, and the hub, this is where a lot of like the gossip related stuff is. So P2P inside of hub is where the whole libp2p setup is, and um, all the sort of like different messages we need to handle with a bunch of to dos and print lines. This is again like gossip behavior, gossip node. This again some libp2p bootstrapping stuff. Um, Sync is where the diffsync protocol code will go. Currently, it doesn't do anything except a basic tree node structure. There's no actual code in here. Um, and then hub.rs is eventually going to be the main place um, for managing like an overview of the database on-chain events, jobs, sync engine, the RPC servers, etc. Um, Currently, also just a placeholder. Currently, really the main thing that does get started, if you try to like run this locally, the main.rs is a hacky little script um, that we kind of use for testing teleport as well. So what this does is like loads the config, runs the DB migrations, starts the on-chain events indexer if you need to sync historical stuff. So it will like do a historical sync first. Once the historical sync is done, it will move it to a background process for keeping up with the chain real time. This is all part of what needs to be in the hub. Then there's some hacky stuff over here that has nothing to do with the hub itself, but it's more so was testing um, our gossip sub implementation. So here we have like a Farcaster private key coming from environment variables. Not something you'll see in Hubble, but we'll take that private key, we like hard coded, connected to some nodes and hard coded like a message, a cast add, and then post it to other hubs and saw it show up on Warpcast, which was nice. Um, so this stuff will like this block of code at least will be deleted. That's not really part of a hub eventually. And then we just start the gossip node, and then we start the gRPC server. Yeah, like the start function is where a lot of the this start function is basically what the CLI start command is going to call, and then a bunch of other CLI commands have been created over here. Not really hooked up to the CLI right now, but yeah, it's a lot of pending stuff. And the hub monorepo, that is always a good place to check it out. So like if you go to the hub monorepo, let's see, the in the hub monorepo, basically there's two places you're going to be spending most of your time. Under apps, there's the Hubble code base, which is really the main thing. But then you'll see Hubble will often rely on hub-node.js under packages for a lot of the protobuf related things for the most part, because this is also hub-node.js is also like the SDK clients would install if they're building apps on Farcaster in Node. So like a lot of the protobuf related encoding, decoding stuff, etc., is over here, but the actual like gossip networks and event stuff is all inside Hubble, and the entry point for this is the CLI.ts file. And CLI.ts, you can go into like, this is like the start function and yeah, all the different CLI commands. The start function is kind of what we're focusing on mainly, and like digging into the start function and filling out all the blocks over there. And the other CLI commands are stuff that can happen eventually.
Okay.
Okay. And thankfully, one good thing about the Hubble code base though is like it is very clearly very inspired from Rust. So hopefully,
Yeah.
if you can read the Hubble code, it will translating it into like its Rust equivalent won't be too hard, because the way they do error handling and the way they deal with like return values from functions, etc., they just use an npm package that actually mimics like Rust's default behavior for those things instead of JavaScript's default behavior for those things. So that is a little helpful. But yeah.
Okay. They're using never throw.
Yeah, never throw, and then one more package. Yeah. Are you familiar with it? I hadn't heard of it before I started looking into this.
No, I actually have built a custom version of it. I didn't know it was out there, but I've done the same thing in my own JavaScript code.
Oh, nice.
Adding
Okay.
options, but yeah.
Was that before or after the Rust book?
It was, well, a coworker of mine recommended we do it because he knew Rust. I didn't know Rust at the time, and that's actually kind of how I ended up learning Rust, because that was kind of the first introduction to the safety guarantees that Rust has.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah. Dealing with the borrow checker is annoying sometimes. Once you start looking into like how the gossip node is being set up in teleport, that was a bit of an annoying pain in the ass to do. I did not enjoy that, but it is what. And there's probably ways to make it better right now, but it would require some restructuring of the code base that is not super high priority right now.
Gotcha. Okay, I'll take a look. Today, I'll kind of just try to get myself familiar with the code base and make sure I understand what's going on. See if there's anything for me to start with.
Cool. Sounds good. Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. I've recorded this. I'll upload on YouTube eventually and send it to